And because our system is so broken, or people don't care, I don't understand. But she was incarcerated for 170 rand, and because she couldn't go out on bail for 500, so they basically just let things fly, and they lost whatever they do, and now she ended up in prison with women at around the age of 35, and she was in her teens.
I have a feeling that the statement, the punishment definitely does not fit the crime. Definitely is very pertinent.
Very pertinent.
Hello and welcome to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce.
My name's Gareth.
And we talk about things.
We just don't know where it's gonna go. Yeah, exactly. Welcome.
How's it going, man?
And our previous episode, I think it was the previous one.
Yes.
You spoke about how you taking your photo a specific way to see what would happen on your social dating sites.
Yes, you really weren't going to let me get away with not giving you an update.
You brought it up and I said, fine, next time I'm going to ask you. So, did your plan work and what did you learn from it?
I've got to be honest, it did seem to create more traction than I expected.
Okay.
Normally after a little while, especially on something like Tinder, everything slows down. Matches slow down.
Yeah, that's right.
All that kind of thing. And this time it kept ticking over. It slowed down, but not to a point of like, oh, this is pointless, I'm just going to go off. Yeah. It's kept slightly a little bit more regular, which was interesting.
Did they mention why?
I don't know. Maybe it was the new photos and the grey in my beard that just...
I'm an old pa, yeah. That's extremely sexy.
No, I look distinguished. There's a big difference.
Well, I've had a salt and pepper beard, as my nephews have called it, and
yes,
I'm not distinguished at all. So maybe it works for you.
Well, I wouldn't say I am distinguished. I'd say I look distinguished. Big difference.
True. But I don't think I've ever been called distinguished. Not sure how sexy that is. Man, you're so distinguished.
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't give me that.
I've had my share of compliments from
your share. You're damn right you have.
The female.
Why do you even have
demographic.
to think female? So female animal, no. Female cow, no crap. Female sheep, no crap. What am I trying to think of? Don't have to pause.
Demographic.
Because when you pause after female, then I'm wondering, what kind of female haven't you told me about, you sick bastard? I'm just saying, don't pause
man. There. Yeah. Don't
just
pause
makes it weird.
Don't pause.
Because now it's weird.
Yeah, I know. Now it's
now
really
I'm just
weird.
wondering what you were thinking about in that pause moment. Don't say chickens. Don't say chicken. Don't say chicken. Although I don't know how that's humanly possible, but
oh my word,
where there's a will, there's a chicken.
I was almost going to say the same thing.
Exactly. So you found out that it gave you some extra.
Yeah, I did, and I was running Tinder and Bumble at the same time.
I never understand the word Bumble. Why?
I don't know why they called it Bumble.
I would imagine Bumble would be better like a grinder. Bumble. If you don't know what a grinder is, people, it's the male version of
Tinder. Yes.
Although you can meet a guy on Tinder, not that I know. Okay.
Yeah, it's Grindr is the gay.
Grindr.
It's the gay hookup
Exactly.
Hookup app. Yes. Definitely.
And then when they want to interact between women and if they want the woman involved slightly, then it's called Bumble. I mean, where do you get the... Sorry, that's the only thing which I can think of when you say Bumble.
I know.
Like, what else is going to happen in Bumble? Yeah.
Remember, I actually do prefer Bumble to Tinder. As an app. As an app.
Lovely, Bruce. We've just spoken about what Bumble is, and now you say, well, I quite like Bumble.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Look, whatever works for you, pal.
Yeah. Anyway, just today,
moving swiftly on.
And yesterday I deleted Tinder. Today I deleted Bumble. So I am.
But what you do once in a while, though.
Oh yeah, of course. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna, maybe.
So why did you stop even after trying your social experiment?
Because now it now has slowed down
Okay.
even significantly more. And
But did you find you got more hits or swipes from that photo?
yes, and matches and stuff like that. But
So what
the
is-
interactions were still sort of, you can match as much as you like, but
Yeah.
if you still get ignored, or you get your interactions, but then you also, nothing happens from a lot of
So
those
tell me
matches.
then, from your extremely incredible, educated experience, what can you finish? What have you taken from this, Bruce? Otherwise, it's just a social experiment that went wrong. I don't really care, but at least try.
the fact that I've embraced
Wow.
my age, and not trying to look younger, but rather just embrace the fact that I am in my 40s and using that to my advantage. It sort of worked
To your
for me.
advantage.
Yeah.
Like a sugar daddy, although
No.
you don't have sugar. I'm more of a. I'm more of a salty daddy. That's as far as I can help anybody. That's all I am, pal.
Yeah, no,
I ain't doing sugar.
trust me.
I don't even have a lot of sugar in my life, let
Me-
alone to hand it out to someone else.
Exactly. That's why it's like, if you don't know after one drink, after one interaction,
Sorry,
let's put it
I thought
that way.
I thought this is what you're going to say. If you don't know after one drink, give her another one. That's where I thought you were going to go in your lifestyle.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's
Well done.
It was interesting. Got some phone numbers, got some contacts, and organize some dates. It's cool. We'll see what happens.
Well done, Bruce.
Yeah.
I, for myself, what did I do on the weekend? I went to a picnic with a whole bunch of people who I know from a group, linked with my jerks, and it's interesting. Like, there was one girl. She was pretty
Yeah.
and feisty, and was a lot like me, in the sense, like, very, very competitive, because we played 30 seconds.
Okay.
Very competitive, very like in the focus the whole time.
Yeah.
And I went home and I was like, maybe I should ask a friend for her number. And then I woke up, in the morning. Nah, I'm not interested. How my day carried on. I can't do dates and stuff like that. Not right now. I just don't like. I thought, it would actually be nice to have somebody, female persuasion in my life.
Yeah.
Human. Let's make that clear. Just wanna make this episode very clear.
Thanks for clarifying that.
We have
After
to.
my faux pas.
Yes, exactly. But then, I don't know, dude. I think it's easy for me to go, wow, she's pretty, want to hang out with her. I always wait for a day, and then I'll know how I feel later on.
Yes.
So, if she chose to get hold of me, cool.
Yes.
But I'm not interested enough to find her number, and
Yeah.
so it's okay.
That's okay, and that's a good place to be in as well. You're not sort of driven by that and driven by that thirst and stuff, and you've got other stuff going on and stuff like that, and that's fine.
It is fine, Bruce.
It's awesome. It's good.
Yes. And I guess if you do give a woman way too much drink, you could end up in prison. Well, actually, no, you couldn't end up in prison. Sorry, I'm trying to find a link to our topic, and that stank. It's not even close.
We'll give you 2 points for effort for that one.
Yeah, out of 10, yeah. Sorry. I'm not even going to try. I tried to make a nice little segue into it, but actually you can't. Because if you're linking dating and prison, you're doing something completely wrong.
Yeah, no, that's no. I think there's a long slippery slope from a date, a drink,
With
eye
way-
contact over a drink
With way too many drinks, and all of a sudden you end up in prison.
Exactly.
Which can happen.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, let's not discount that it can happen.
We don't know, but it can happen.
Exactly.
So now I'm awkward.
That was actually.
That was probably the most awkward one of doing it.
But it segued really well into our
I tried
It's our
to.
topic.
I tried to. But I guess from feeling awkward, I actually have felt slightly awkward doing. Oh, we didn't even start and say, hey, what our topic is. Damn it. We actually do this reasonably well. Actually, no, we suck. We do like 1 out of every 4. Hey, welcome to Spaghetti Junction. Today's topic, I was going to say, this topic made me feel at times a little bit awkward. Just like, well, not awkward. I felt anxious is a word? No, it's not a word. It was just uncomfortable.
I got to be honest. I also agreed with. I can agree with you on that. It also felt because it's a hectic subject,
and
you know
our subject, which you might have known from our topic name, I guess. I don't know, dude.
On the YouTube thumbnail.
Yes, it is basically based around juveniles and juvenile prisons and what happens in them and how they actually became a juvenile. Word that is used, which I don't like, delinquent.
Yeah.
Juvenile delinquent. I don't know. It just sounds weird. So yeah, it's basically all based around juvie, which is also known, like a slang about it. Basically, juvenile prison, and I think we're going to also look into it as to like how actually they might have even. Why would a youngster actually end up in prison?
Yeah,
etc. And you were saying that you watched a few videos of it. I didn't have my Wi-Fi, but I'm probably glad that I didn't because I've seen one of those and it's very unsettling. What did you watch?
It was quite a long one. I honestly didn't end up watching a huge amount of it, but I got enough to really see it. It was specifically about South African.
Oh really?
Some South African kids, and it actually followed for the portion that I watched. It followed two brothers, an older brother and a much younger brother.
Yeah,
and they rode with the cops, arrested them.
No,
the mother was there, as they while they're being arrested and put away and stuff like that. A hectic situation. The mother and the boyfriend are begging on the streets. They live in the smallest little 1-bedroom little place, trying to make ends meet. These two kids though have been in and out of different facilities. They've escaped multiple times. These kids are like escape artists. It's crazy. And they were addicted to Mandrax, heroin, all of that thing, and it just yes, it's heartbreaking.
What were their ages? If you remember.
I think the older brother was sort of around the 15, 16 year old.
Oh wow.
And the younger was, I don't think he was more. I don't think he was older than about 11.
Yeah, 11 or 12.
And it's very interesting that the older brother, when he was actually the less of the problem child, when it was in a facility, he kind of, I think, was almost making more of an effort to actually just kind of be better. But it was the younger one that was actually the problem.
The problem child, so to speak.
They were the one. He was the more difficult one to deal with.
Can I bring in something that, now that you mentioned problem child, and I know there is no way to act. Well, okay. This doesn't really have anything to do with the topic, but I felt that we should have brought it in way, and I do apologize. So this is like a minor segue, and then we'll go back into the topic. Is that right?
Because this is the Spaghetti Junction.
Yeah. So this we should have actually brought this in way earlier.
Okay.
So when you said the word problem child, I think of Jake Paul. Jake Paul, I think of Logan Paul. Tonight, and we are recording on Sunday. This is Sunday, the 6th of June.
Yes.
And in America tonight, which will be our early morning about 1 o'clock in the UK. So it's roughly 2 o'clock in South Africa.
Where in the USA are we talking though?
Oh, I know. I read on this. I think it's in Atlanta, but I could be very wrong, and I can't check myself because my Wi-Fi is dead.
Okay. East Coast or West Coast? Where's Apologies to our American listeners if there are
If
any.
there are any.
I'm not too sure where Atlanta is.
No.
I need to look
But
on
I
the
think
map.
it's Atlanta, but I could be very wrong.
Okay.
Point of this being is that this is finally it's been happening. It's been going on for months, and this is Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather.
Man alive.
It's going to be monster.
It is.
Something interesting happened. So the rulings and everything happened earlier this week. Okay,
Right.
where the the boxing federation, whatever board, said like sets the rules basically as to what's going to happen on that fight.
Right.
First of all, there are no judges.
What?
The only way so
Okay.
if both fighters last the full 8 rounds,
Right.
it's a draw.
Okay.
Nobody's won. If someone gets knocked out, then obviously the person who knocks them out is the winner.
Okay.
And this is an exhibition match, so even if Floyd Mayweather lost, it still wouldn't attach on on his legacy, because
Right.
it's a. But if he loses, his legacy is pretty much tainted. Interesting thing, they were told that they were going to have the fight in 12-ounce boxing gloves, which are mostly used for sparring and so forth.
Right. The lighter, less.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, in the sense where the gloves are bigger, and the reason why they're using them in sparring is that they're full of they basically take an impact well. So the smaller the gloves, the more powerful they are, basically.
Yes.
So Floyd Mayweather is used to, obviously, he is used to 10-ounce gloves
Right.
and less.
Okay.
And the chance of a knockout with a 10-ounce glove is far higher than a 12-ounce glove.
Okay.
So both said, yes, we want 10-ounce gloves.
Ooh.
So they're going in for it, planning that someone's going to get knocked. So that's all I wanted to share. It's actually happening. After all we've been speaking about, it's going to be
It's
happening
finally happening.
tonight. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
That's going to be interesting.
Look, if Logan Paul can land like 1 or 2 really good shots, even if he doesn't knock out Mayweather, which I don't think he will, he still looks damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He's been, yeah.
And if he can last for 8 rounds, I don't think it's going to go the full 8 rounds.
I mean, even just lasting 8 rounds against Floyd Mayweather,
it's huge.
That's an achievement in
Exactly.
itself.
So he's already won in that extent.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And the amount of internet clout.
Oh yeah.
That's just.
So we'll see what happens. From what I understand, Floyd Mayweather is making more money than Logan Paul.
Wow. Okay.
He's making a lot. Yeah, he's basically making 7 figures, million. Wait, 6 figures is.
6 is in the hundreds of thousands.
Okay, then he's making 7 is millions. So I don't know. I think he's basically making, for example, I don't know. Logan Paul maybe like making about 45 mil or 60, whatever it is. Floyd Mayweather is making 100 and something mil. He's making more.
Yeah. So each purse is in the millions.
Yes. So
Yes.
and it's all about the money.
Oh man. All right. Well,
It's fascinating.
that's gonna be.
And then Jake Paul's fight is happening on the 28th of August against the former UFC champion, middleweight champion. But that's for on another conversation.
That's it. Which we will have.
Yes, probably. And now back to the podcast.
All right. So this talking about problem children basically.
Yeah.
It's it's and watching the realities of kids living in those types of places. It's crazy. It's like where else do you let the kids have a quick smoke before they go in for their classes, because they're all coming down off drugs, so they are allowed to have a smoke just to
really?
sort of take the edge off before they actually start their classes in the mornings.
Okay.
Yeah, you see one of the guys, just one of the counselors, literally handing out cigarettes to the kids.
That's interesting.
Like an early morning. Like,
fix.
okay, cool. Just have a bit of a nicotine vibe.
Oh wow.
And then just to settle you, and then
I mean, one of the I mean, I also in one of their I mean, in their schooling and so forth, their life in prison as well. I also read that they have cups, multiple cups of coffee, as well, because just to
I saw them on there.
Just to make it through a day, because they were saying that a juvenile is not used to working like that for a full day.
Yes, and it's also so they're giving them have them big cups of coffee. And remember, so many of these kids are now they've been taken into this facility. A lot of these kids have got a drug addiction.
Yeah.
Now they have to deal with the withdrawals of coming out of a drug addiction, whether it's something as simple as marijuana, or something as hectic as Mandrax, or anything like that. Now these poor kids have got to deal with that too, and it's
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah.
So that was part of your view, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, your viewing of that.
Yeah, it's a hectic reality, and it's not a reality that a lot of people actually make a decision to think about. Yeah. But it is.
No, exactly.
And it's a problem all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy on the streets where I get my hair cut, but there's not much hair, so my cheese cop that we spoke a while ago.
Get your trim.
Gets a trim, yeah. He would, I mean, he would, help me wash my car or whatever, and he's probably, I don't know, but I feel that he's probably in his late teens.
Right.
And I mean, the guards on the streets, when you give them something, they will, a lot of the time, will take what you gave them to sell it to somebody else to just make their fix, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, I gave this guy blankets and clothing and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then I heard from my barber that guy, had basically sold everything. And at first I was like mad about it, but then it's like, you know what? Whatever he does with my gift, it's his call.
It's his choice.
I mean, I didn't give him for that. Well, at the same time, it makes you realize like how hardcore drugs is affecting a lot of youngsters. And yes, I think doing that kind of stuff could actually end them up doing something stupid enough that could end them up in prison.
Yes, exactly. Because if they've got especially if it's a hectic drug habit, they're stealing all the time to fuel that habit.
I like what you said. They're stealing all the time. Oh, double meaning. Or stealing all the time, and or stealing all the time. Sorry.
Wow.
Not bad, eh? Sorry, I just thought it was funny. But I apologize for our topic.
Don't apologize. Never apologize.
All right.
So I kind of delved a little bit into some of the probable causes of this, and I'm probably only still just scratching the surface. But well, let's take a look at some of the
please
some of the causes of this. So problems at school, parents. I think a lot of it. I think a lot of the causes of this probably comes down to parenting.
I think it's more than that, though.
I think the parenting is big.
Because there's a lot of really bad parents on there, but the kids didn't end up in prison.
That's also true.
But I do see what you're saying.
Yes.
It is a part of it. I wouldn't say it's the main part.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just...
Yeah, no, I get you.
I'm feeling that it's definitely a part into it.
Yeah.
But it's a bit...
Yeah,
wider than that.
It's definitely.
There are more to add on to that, should I say?
Yeah. So.
Why would you say bad parenting there? Like, why would you say that?
I think maybe parents who are not quite mature or educated enough to actually take on the responsibility of raising a child.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. But then it's a question, then why would that child end up in prison? Just because his parents aren't there for him.
Well, that's the thing. If the parents are sort of absent and are not understanding how to show the child right from wrong, then that child is probably way more susceptible
True.
to going down a wrong path.
Yes, and
because that child hasn't had the parents to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And to say, no, this is not the way we do things.
Sure.
And
sure.
That kind of thing. So yeah.
Cool.
Basic economic situations. A child that is brought into a poor household where there isn't a lot of food. There isn't, and this poor child does not have the choice. The child gets born. Maybe it's an illegitimate child. Maybe it's an accidental pregnancy, and it gets brought into this world.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is all it knows. And then grows up having more and more of just.
I would rather take your view and change it a little bit. This is what I do know, is that a lot of the times the youngsters will. So, for example, they're at home. There's no money coming through. There's no job. They have to survive.
Yeah.
Why do you survive? You do petty crime.
Yeah.
Just to, just to be able to acquire food, for example.
That's it.
And I think that's a lot of the times the smaller crimes end up getting bigger.
Yes.
And also, I would imagine in that environment, exactly as you say, if there's an absent parent, for example, or they're just not really good parents, or maybe they just have nothing, which is why the child has that, and then they fall into the wrong groups.
Yeah.
And bada boom, bada bing.
Yeah.
They end up doing something that gets them arrested.
Yeah. They'll see. They'll sort of run into, like you said, the wrong groups or whatever. Yeah. They'll see other kids who are fueling their lifestyles by stealing, and they're like, well, he's got that and I don't. So, but he did that to get that. So I'm going to go do the same thing.
And a lot of the time, I don't think they actually factor in, if I'm arrested, what the hell happens?
Yeah, that's
because I think if there was more talk about what happens in juvenile prisons, I think some of them are going to think twice.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Physical abuse,
sure,
especially in the home, unfortunately.
Yeah,
which is really sad. And then they'll sort of act out against that by maybe being violent towards others or committing acts of vandalism.
Sure.
Because they need that out. They need an outlet for that, because they know they might not understand what's happening, but they know that it's inherently wrong what's happening to them if they're being physically abused, if they're being sexually abused, and then it also escalates from there.
Sure.
So yeah, peer pressure, just the common.
Sure.
Just the typical desire to be accepted within a peer group. We use the term peer pressure so often, but
yes.
It's very real. It's that desire, especially when you're a teenager.
Absolutely.
You're coming into that period of your life where you really don't know who you are. And every teenager, it doesn't matter how confident they appear, there's always that insecurity. Do people like me? Am I being accepted? I don't want to be an outcast. And a lot of those teenagers, a lot of those kids will do. Look, a lot of kids will not do that. But a lot of kids will do certain things in order to just gain that acceptance, and before they know it, they're on a slippery slope.
Yeah, it just makes me think of an area next to me, which is Westbury, and the amount of gangs in Westbury and the amount of youngsters, from what I'm aware of, a lot in this area. The bigger portion of stuff that happens is in Westbury, and exactly what you're saying. There's a lot of peer pressure, a lot of influence from other people.
Yeah.
The youngsters are often used as like what is the, I can't remember the wording for it, but they are basically used by the gang to sell drugs, for example. So if anything happens to them, it doesn't happen to somebody in the actual. So
there's a separation from the drugs and the gangs.
It's a separation, exactly. Yeah.
Cheapers. That's
youngsters are actually used a lot more in crime, from what I've read up and know about.
Yeah.
Because they are easier to, what's the word? They are more
easier to manipulate.
Easier to manipulate, and they're like not a leftover, but they are. I can't find the wording I'm looking for, but they are basically easier or easy to throw away, if that makes sense.
But I can also imagine that's like if you're a young child on the street and you haven't eaten for 3 days.
Sure.
And someone comes to you and says, "I'm going to give you a loaf of bread, but I want you to do this for me."
Absolutely.
That desperation.
Absolutely.
Desperation.
And that's how they're caught into the cycle of gangs.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Because like, oh, you did this. Well, if you do this, I'll give you a slab of chocolate.
Yeah.
And if you do, and then before you know it.
Can we move into actual juvenile prisons?
Sure.
As our time is slowly moving in. So we have spoken about impossible reasons.
Yes.
And now I feel that we need to move into actually, well, what faces.
I think the reality.
What is the reality behind all of that? Because you know what, that makes sense and it's bad. But what actually is the reality when a first-time juvenile rocks up at the juvenile prison? What is the expectation of a child who's like 11 or 12?
I cannot even imagine.
First time in prison because of something. I would imagine that a lot of them are there because of something stupid that they did, just because they felt that they needed.
Yeah.
For example, food or whatever.
Right.
But a lot of the guys in there, though, have done a lot. I feel that the small crimes aren't the major issue. It's just for more when it turns into robbery and etc. From that point, I believe that's when they actually hit the juvenile, because I'd imagine, from what I'm understanding, if you steal like a loaf of bread and milk, they will there's more hope that they will get addressed differently than being sent straight into juvie.
Yeah.
So juvenile prison, from what you and me have gone into, it is not a place that you cannot teach a youngster this, because it's very different learning about it to actually being hit with it face to face, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the questions was, which we spoke about is, what is the age? What makes a juvenile's age, basically?
Yes. So
I'll just read you from our Department of Correctional Services. The Department of Correctional Services has a definition for juvenile that is different from that of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which is interesting enough, which is weird, and the South African Constitution. The Department of Correctional Services defines a juvenile as a young person under the age of 21. So from what you were saying to me. And the UN Convention and South African Constitution define a child as a young person under the age of 18.
Right. So if someone's 19 in this country, they can be tried as an adult. As an adult,
exactly. And it also frequently, so then it says that this complicated. So it also frequently results in the imprisonment of children together with older persons between the age of 18 and 21.
Right.
So because they haven't, it just sounds like they haven't really worked out completely like who still is a juvenile.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a grey area.
That's exactly what it is.
Which is concerning, because if a younger, more impressionable child can be put in with older.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And then so from the SA Constitution, it says that every child has the right to be kept separately from detained persons over the age of 18. So that is, which makes sense,
Yes.
Because the level that someone over 18 has done is normally quite more intense than someone who is. And it's also, if they've done crime, for example, at 15 or 16, they need to be tried at that age, because the reasoning and their emotional state is very different to someone who's 24, 25, who's
Definitely
done a similar
yes.
case. And then from the UN Convention, it says any child deprived of liberty shall be separated from adults unless it is considered in the child's best interest not to do so.
Sure. So a lot of these, and then a lot of these juvenile detention facilities, should we say? Let's not maybe call them prisons. Let's say it's more sort of detention facilities, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's almost like they try and bring them in where they try and sort of there's schooling. There is ways of just sort of integrating them into, sort of educating them about how society is actually supposed to work.
Yes.
To ensure that let's hope that when they get out that they can actually learn how to be, or within that place learn how to be a functional member of society, hold down a job, basic ways of how to treat your fellow human beings in a way that's not aggressive and violent.
Yeah.
And then make them wear uniforms, understand that they're bring them into that structured school environment.
Sure.
With the extra discipline and counseling that they need.
There's a story, and it doesn't say her name, but it's a very it's a very powerful view to what happened. So it says there that a 17-year-old girl was interviewed in the female unsentenced section of Toyando prison, where she was in a cell with a baby. So before you go forward, when you get arrested, you get put into to a separate prison from people who have been sentenced. So you are basically there awaiting trial, basically.
Right. Yes.
Awaiting trial.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when this one. And the interview revealed that she was an orphan who had never been to school and had been brought up by her grandmother on a farm. At an early age, she too became a farm laborer. Her bail had been set at 500 and her case postponed. And basically where this goes is that she couldn't even afford 500 rand.
Yeah.
Because of that, she was awaiting trial. And then they moved to a prison which was 400 k's away from where she was born.
And then how do you expect relatives to even get to her?
Oh, you can't.
To even if they can afford the bail, how do you expect the relatives to get anywhere near them?
Well, exactly.
In order to help them.
It's a broken system, very broken. Like 500 rand to most, not to most, I think to people who have a job and everything, as in like a reasonably well paid, like an average job.
Yes.
500 isn't too bad. But for someone who comes from a very, very poor background. So basically she was moved there. And it seems also it also says at no stage had the girl seen a social worker or probation officer, nor had she been visited by relatives or friends. She was in custody in a cell of a woman aged as 35 years of age.
And she's just
youngster.
She's basically left there.
Yes.
So no one's made the effort to just
no. And you know what? She shoplifted goods to the value of 170 rand. And because our system is so broken, or people don't care, I don't understand. But she was incarcerated for 170 rand, and because she couldn't go out on bail for 500, so they basically just let things fly, and they lost whatever they do, and now she ended up in prison with women at around the age of 35, and she was in her teens.
I have a feeling that the statement, the punishment definitely does not fit the crime. Definitely is very pertinent.
Very, very pertinent. And that's just one story, by the way.
I think there are just...
That's just one star. And I just feel... I don't know what you think about this, but there's just a lot more that I want to bring into, that we should bring into, about prisons itself, as to what they're going through, what's... like if you know of someone who is going to juvie,
yes,
I feel that people should be made aware of what happens, and and the whole environment, like from arriving there, from what the expectations.
Yes.
And I feel that if we stop our podcast now, I just feel that we haven't really got into.
That's fine.
So her story, I felt, was just, an important example.
Yes.
Of just one person.
Yeah.
Who stole something for 170 rand that was food for her family.
That's it.
And because she stole 170 rand, she's now incarcerated.
And now 500 rand bail and 400 kilometers away from basically anyone.
From anyone who can even afford, and chances are they don't even know where she is.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the parents of a lot of these kids don't even know that they're behind bars. They don't even know that they're incarcerated.
No, exactly.
And
yeah, exactly. So we're pretty much saying this is the end of part 1.
Cool.
But we're going to be continuing this into the next podcast.
That's awesome.
If that's okay with you.
That's perfect.
Because I just feel that there's just so much that we've missed. We pretty much haven't even scratched anything at this point.
We haven't actually.
We kind of have been right on the ground.
Yeah.
Having a conversation, but I feel that it just needs to be gone into more, because this is not a place that, from what we're going to go through, is not a place for youngsters.
No.
It's just unhealthy. It hasn't been run properly.
Yeah.
It's just a broken, and I use the word broken system a lot, but it is.
Yeah.
And the question is, how do we actually make it better, that when the youngsters get out, that they do not reoffend and come back in again.
That's it.
And that things that happen in these prisons, that change a child's view of life and everything because of things that actually happen to them from other inmates. I just feel that we need to. It's not a topic that's like, yes, but I just feel that there's a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
So carry on this view. Carry on with us in this topic as we head into our second. But this has been the first part of 2. The second one will be coming a few days after this one.
Perfect.
So keep in tune. Thanks for listening to this one. This has been Spaghetti Junction. My name is Gareth.
My name is Bruce.
And this has been part 1 of 2, so stay tuned for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a
Cheers.
good one. Cheers.
Ciao.
Bye.